Ikety's mama called the health department. Okay, health department, you know damn well we blacks can't go to the hospital, but can you come here and take care of my husband who got his stomach kicked in for hunching on a white man's black girlfriend? Bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com for this Black Hilda hat. You can get the hat and the Michelle Lippy for $40. Yeah, we got a promo combo going on. We have the Hilda hat in the black flower on black and the white flower on black. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below or I'm having a hot flash, y'all, forgive me. Or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's talk about, child, you know my baby Tina Turner done passed. Lord have mercy. Taking Back My Name by Ike Turner. We were playing down at Cleveland, Mississippi on a Friday night, and in Greenville on Saturday. Coming home from Cleveland on Friday, we passed by Mound Bayou. Down by the highway, we could see these cars parked. On the Saturday night, the cars were lining up down there, and there were even more people. So we said, let's stop and see what shit is going on here. We pulled off the highway. We saw the sign that said B.B. King, but we didn't know who B.B. King was. I only knew him as Riley King. I don't remember why or how, but Riley B.B. turned up in Clarksdale, Mississippi, where I'm from, one day, and I took him to our house. I was the kind of kid who was always bringing someone home with him. Me too. Me too. Word. Mom accepted it. Mine too. He had a 3-string guitar. There weren't but 3 strings on it. He stayed a day or two. I remember Mama giving him some shoes to go and get sold because they were worn through. He never came back. So here was Riley B.B. playing this club, the Harlem Club in Chambers, Mississippi. We asked him to let us play a song, and we got up there and played. And we tore that place up, boy. Afterwards, the guy who owned the club, Hezekiah Patton, wanted us to play there because everyone was crazy about us. He hired us to work on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And boy, did we pack that place back to back. BB told us, man, guys, as good as you are, should be recording. I said we didn't know nothing about recording companies. He said he'd set it up for us. We had no idea how to get on record. It was the furthest thing from my head at that time. BB said he would have the guy at the recording company who turned out to be Sam Phillips. He did call, and then that Wednesday, we came up to record. BB had recently signed with Modern Records and had been recording at the Memphis Recording Service, whose studios were in a converted radiator shop at 706 Union Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee. The owner, radio engineer Sam Phillips, also founded Sun Records. Phillips had dreamed of finding a white man who could sing and move like a black man. 3 years later, in July 1954, at the same Sun Studios, Phillips discovered a young truck driver named Elvis Presley. But on that rainy Wednesday in March 1951, a far more significant contribution to the history of rock and roll was about to be made as Ike Turner and the Kings of Rhythm pulled out of strictly segregated Clarksdale to make the 63-mile journey north along Highway 61 across the flat cotton fields in Memphis. We were in Johnny Dugan's car, a Chrysler. There were 7 or 8 of us and all the instruments too. Someone said that he thought we might need some original material if we were going to record. All we knew were jukebox covers. We didn't have any original songs, man. Not one. So on the way up there, we tried to write some songs. We just had to do it real quick so that we had something when we got there. That was how Rocket 88, about a new model Oldsmobile, was written. Jackie Brinston, our sax player, came up with the idea. It turned out good. When Sam cut it, he called Leonard Chess of Chess Records in Chicago and overnighted him it. He got real excited about it, thought it would be a big old hit, which it was. At the same time, there was a white radio station in Memphis called WHBQ. They had a guy, Dewey Phillips, who had a show named Red, Hot, and Blue. Dewey was a friend of Sam Phillips, so Sam got him to play it on the show. That was how Rocket 88 took off. On May 12, 1951, Rocket 88 entered the Billboard chart at number 4. On June 12th, it reached number 1, and it stayed on the chart until September 8th. The record sold over 500,000 copies at a time when Chess considered anything over 50,000 a hit. It also inspired Little Richard, who stole Ike's thumping piano intro for Good Golly Miss Molly, and 100 other artists across the South. Sam Phillips claimed that Rocket 88, with its honking saxophone and steam train rhythm, was the first rock and roll record ever. Ike Turner is credited as its creator, and he is honored as the founder of rock and roll by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. They put me in the Hall of Fame for cutting the first rock and roll record, okay? But I was playing rhythm and blues. That's all I was playing. When I'm listening to Jerry Lee Lewis, it's nothing but boogie woogie, but they call it rock and roll. Ike Turner was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi on November 5th, 1931. Child, what is that? November 5th? Is that a Scorpio? Oh. That explains why he's such a freaky deek. I thought Rickety James was bad with the women. No. Child, Ickety Ikety got him beat. And Ickety Ikety is a nickname that we gave Ike Turner years ago. Okay, so ain't nobody trying to be funny or mean to the Ickety Ikety. That's just what we call it. Ike Turner was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi on November 5th, 1931. Clarksdale is found at the heart of the Delta, the D-shaped lowlands that lie between the Mississippi and Yazoo rivers. The town was, of course, strictly segregated. The blacks were confined to the east side of the railroad tracks that divided the town. Even today, few, if any, blacks live in the prosperous Oakhurst section of town. In the 1930s and the 1940s, the juke joints, clubs, and cafes of the bustling area around 4th Street and Issaquena were a magnet to the old Delta bluesmen, including the great pioneers such as Robert Johnson, Charlie Patton, and Son House. Now that cotton picking has been mechanized, the sharecroppers have long since fled north. Ike's parents were Creole. Ezra Luster Turner was a minister at the Centennial Baptist Church at Yazoo and 5th in Clarksdale. My father was killed when I was about 5 years old. I was told when I got older that there was a woman my father was fooling around with on the side. This same woman was going with another man too, a white guy. Everybody called him Bird Doggy. He was well known around Clarksdale for being a real redneck peckerwood. Well, something happened between this woman and my father. A fight, or he stopped messing with her. Anyway, she told Bird Dogging, and he became very angry with my father because of it. One day, this man got together with a group of other white men, and they all decided to come and get my daddy. Haven't I told y'all for years? Ninjas will kill you. I'm telling you, women need to stop playing with these men. When you see that these men have the propensity to murk you all, you better pay attention. When I was young and dumb, I thought it was real attractive to know that a man could put one in the ground. Not even thinking, bitch, if you hurt him, he's going to put you on the ground, God, and then maybe murk himself. I'm like, hold on. First of all, Ike's father is a whole minister. Why are you fooling around with this lady? Because Ike's father is with his mother. He messing around with this whole woman that's messing around with a white man. Now you done got killed for a woman that's not even your wife. Mr. Turner? Shit. He didn't get killed. He got his ass beat. And then eventually he died. I was real close to my daddy. He stayed sick for 2 or 3 years. And finally, he died around 1936, 1937. And this is because back then, it wasn't too many hospitals for blacks, okay? The mama contacted the health department, and this is the bullshit that I'm talking about. Women been taking care of ninjas and accepting their bullshit for years. Not that white women don't do it, because they do it too. Okay, hence the 7-year itch movie. Ike's mama called the health department. Okay, health department, you know damn well we blacks can't go to the hospital, but can you come here and take care of my husband who got his stomach kicked in for hunching on a white man's black girlfriend. Okay? And all they did was set him up in a tent outside of the house. And eventually the mother hunchy died. He was buried some way out of Clarksdale near Jamestown, where cemetery plots were cheaper. Mama joined him there 22 years later. My mama was a big woman. My mother's name was Beatrice Cushenberry, but my older sister, Lee Ethel Knight, and I called her Mama B. I didn't have but one sister. She was some 10 years older than me. I have a niece, Ethel May Knight, that we called baby sister. She felt more like my sister than my real sister. She is in Chicago. She and I are close. We're but 2 years apart. There was no electricity when I was a kid, and we'd only just got a radio when we tuned in to hear President Truman announce that the atomic bomb had been dropped on Hiroshima. Our wooden house was the old shotgun construction with the sitting room, bedroom, kitchen, and back porch all leading into each other in one straight line from front door to back. But later, Mama built me an extra room off the side of the house. Mama was a big woman. Mama was a seamstress. She covered couches, made drapes, bedspreads, and stuff like that. And I used to have to earn my money by helping her sew. There was very few seamstresses in Mississippi. In those days, the top paying job was $25 to $35, something like that. My mother used to make $200 to $300 a week sometimes. She made real good money covering couches and stuff. Then I got a job working for Mr. Brown, a blind man who delivered newspapers along a regular route. How the fuck does that work? Then I got a job working for Mr. Brown, a blind man who delivered newspapers along a regular route. Okay. I would lead him around while he delivered the papers, and he paid me 25 cents a week. I also used to go down to the Greyhound bus station on weekends and play deaf and dumb to get a little change. I had 100 ways of making money. By now, I was in the 2nd grade at school. I was starting to develop a rebellious attitude against my mother because I was spoiled. Whenever she wouldn't let me have my own way, I would cry and cry until no water would come from my eyes. When the water ran out, I would put some spit on my face to make it look like there were still tears coming down. Sometimes my mother would give in to me, and sometimes she wouldn't. The making of a monster. I was a little rascal then. There was a little boy named Percy Parker I used to play with. One time when we were shooting marbles together, he took all my marbles, even though I'd won the game. Percy was kind of a bully then, and I was the cowardly type. Unto you. Hold tight. Unto you. Although Ike was small in stature, he was fierce. Okay, I will give him that. Them little ones be something to contend with, y'all. That's when I had my first real fight. Percy was a good boxer, but shit at wrestling. At that time, I was a pretty good wrestler, so I threw him down on the ground and got on top of him. I was punching him and things were going pretty much in my favor until he managed to get one of my fingertips in his mouth. Oh, Lord. Oh, no, my finger. Pause. We got a dude back home. We call him Mr. 640. It's a lot of Mr. 640s, but, you know, if you're from back home, then you may know this particular Mr. 640. Child, one day he had gotten into a fight, child, when he was young. And let me tell you something. The dude who he was fighting pulled out a knife and cut his finger off. Cut it off. The motherfucker kept fighting. Your finger gone. You bleeding. You better, somebody. Here go your finger. But he was a fighter. This is Ike's first fight. The guy got his finger in his mouth and he's like, oh, I don't want to lose my finger. Fuck that finger. You want to fight? Me, I'm like, oh, not my face. At any rate, Ike lost that fight because he was scared that the dude was going to bite his finger off. Here go your finger. Here your finger. Excuse Mr. 640, there go your finger. Should I be putting this in ice? In those days, unlike today, if an older person in the neighborhood saw a kid doing something he wasn't supposed to do, he would whip you good and send you home. So when Reverend Home saw me and Percy fighting that day, he gave us both a real good whipping with a switch from a weeping willow tree. Then he carried us both home and told my mother what I had done. She gave me another good whooping. My niece, Ethel May, and I were very close. Like I said, because we were only 2 years apart, I felt like she was my sister. At home, Ethel May would do her chores and mine too, while I shot marbles with the kids outside. Again, another situation where we're seeing why Ike Turner is the monster that he is. He's used to the women in his life doing for him. That manifests into pimpish behavior, womanizing behavior, abusive behavior. One day it was raining really hard with lots of lightning and loud thunder. Everybody stayed at home that day because of the storm. Baby sis was in the kitchen cooking potato pies for me to sell out at the compress. Another thing I did to earn extra money. Boom. So I'm giving Ike the business, right? About being, a piece of work. But what I will also give him is the fact that he's a hustler. He know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. Listen, I had a cousin that used to go down to the People's Drugstore on 14th Street. And back in the day, the hoes used to be on 14th Street. My cousin steal all the condoms and then sell them to the hoes. Hustle. What? Our kitchen led directly into the bedroom, and that's where I was resting, having just finished polishing the furniture. Baby sis was scared of lightning, so when some suddenly struck very close by, she ran to me full of fear, and I hugged her for comfort. While we stood there hugging each other, we could see Mama laying across the bed, sound asleep. She was wearing one of those country-type dresses, which was kind of flimsy. That was when I got the idea to use the hot comb to press the curly hairs on Mama's cat. It was pure devilment on my part because I don't know what I could have been thinking. Let's do it, I said to baby sis. We put the iron hot comb on the wood-burning stove to heat. I went and raised Mama's dress up around her waist while she slept. When the hot comb was ready, baby sis and I took some hunko lard and put it on Mama's hair down there. We were doing it the way we had seen Mama do it herself when she was straightening the hair on her head. Baby sis bought me the hot comb off the stove, but Mama must have felt the heat because as soon as we attempted to touch her public hairs with it, she jumped up and grabbed a stick and she laid it on me. Good. My mother married again, but I never really got on with my stepdaddy, Phillip Reese. I never really liked him. It's a shame to say. He dead now. God bless him. He was a painter, but he drank, man. He was an alcoholic, I would say. He'd get drunk, and if my mother was sewing, he would come in and snatch the material from Linder, the machine. He'd be cussing and snatching at the machine and at me. My mother would jump up and grab a hot skillet of grease and pop him on the side of his head with it. The antagonism between Ike and his stepfather came to a head one day when Ike and baby sister had made a playhouse in the yard. Ike had installed a small stove with a little chimney in it. When his stepfather came home, he saw the smoke and gave Ike a whipping. But Ike was not going to take this lying down. He went into the house and caught his stepfather bending over. He crept up behind him and hit him over the head with a plank. And knocked him out. Terrified that he had killed his stepfather, Ike jumped on his bicycle and cycled out of town.